Is Cloud Street, next on Kerry Ann.
Welcome back to the show. It's 19 minutes past 8 now. Well, the opera world has undergone some incredible transformations recently. First, it was Jerry Springer, the opera, and now a production called How to Kill Your Husband and Other Handy Household Hints. It's based on the best-selling novel by Lette, and Kathy joins me now from Melbourne. Good morning to you, Kathy.
Hi, Lisa. Lovely to see you. And can I just say, fantastic news about Carl. I suppose he's a megalomaniac now. Is he keeping fit by doing step aerobics off his own ego? Tell me.
No. He's keeping himself well in check. Don't you worry about that. Although he is sitting...
I'm really thrilled.
He's sitting in Georgie Gardner's seat at the moment, so who knows what's going to happen. Now,
well done, Carl.
Now, congratulations to you on this opera, although I think for a lot of people it's kind of a bit of a mind-bender, Lette doing an opera. But reading the notes on this is the story of two couples, one sex therapist, and what happens when one of the women is arrested for her husband's murder. This is not normal opera fare.
Well, you know, operas are about murder, death, lust, jealousy, love, and this book has all those ingredients. But it is the first opera in the history of the world where the women live and the men die. So we're going in the Guinness Book of Records as the very first opera that achieves that. But it is quite grown up, isn't it? I feel I'm plucking my highbrows now. You will have to start calling me Lady Lette, Lisa.
Whose idea was it?
Well, Richard Gill is the artistic director and the conductor, and he's the most wonderful man. He's such an enthusiast, and he's so passionate about women's topics too, because it is unusual to have women driving an opera plot in this way. And the book, I mean, what women loved about the book is that it was describing the fact that our generation thought we were going to have it all, but actually we just ended up doing it all. And the Dunkirk evacuation would be easier to organise than a working mother getting her kids up and out of the house in the morning. And, you know, I used to have these arguments with Jeff all the time. I'd say, you've got to help me more around the house. And he's like, I'd like to help, but I'm a man and I can't multitask. You know, what a biological cop-out. Can you imagine any man having any trouble multitasking at, say, an orgy? Or a menage a trois? No, we'd have no trouble at that particular time.
What's surprising is the fact that you let Jeffrey get away with that excuse.
Well, I didn't really. I wrote a book as revenge for him.
Now,
and when they were...
just looking at the opera and the book, of course, you look at marriage once the passion has faded. And you're a great believer that one of the reasons passion fades in a relationship is because women still tend to do the bulk of the housework. What is the way to get around that?
Well, it is true that women make up 50% of the workforce, but we're still doing 99.9% of all the housework and all the childcare. I think if you deny them sex, that's a pretty good way of getting what you want. I mean, for every woman, the ultimate aphrodisiac is to see a man in a cooking apron. I mean, what does a woman really want in bed? Breakfast. It's not such a hard equation to work out, is it?
Although, didn't you tell your husband that if that's what he wanted, he should sleep in the kitchen?
That's right. He wants breakfast in bed, sleep in the kitchen. I think we need to be harder and tougher on them. But when they were adapting the book into the opera, because of course they have to truncate it, I said the one thing you've got to keep that women love about that book is the hand. Because there's a section in the book about, you know, when you come home, you've worked all day, and then you come home and defrost the chops and cook the dinner and find the lost sports kit for tomorrow and make the fairy costume at short notice for the school play, etc.
Yes,
By the time you stagger into bed, the one thing you're fantasising about is sleep, and then you get the hand. And you think, oh no, not the hand. You know, this is a man who hasn't talked to you all day and has ignored you in the house and hasn't helped you, and he thinks you're in the mood for love. You're in the mood for running him through with a carving knife.
Now, if every man in the country listening to what you just said, Kathy, reacts in the same way as Carl, all they would have heard was the word chops and stopped right there and started salivating. Now, Kathy, the big launch is May 16th, so you have a fantastic time at the launch. But before we let you go, last time we saw you was at the royal wedding while it was all unfolding. And Fergie has just spoken to Oprah about the fact that she was left off the guest list. What do you think? She says that she would have loved to have been there with Andrew and helped the girls get dressed. Do you think she should have been invited?
Well, I think she was there because the daughters are just, they're just exactly like her, aren't they? I mean, they have foot-in-mouth disease and they have the same dress sense. So I think it was a case of designer genes.